Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Now, for a moment of silence. Thank you.
And this is your Mariner TV, and it starts now.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
Today is Friday, January 12th.
Mariner Nation, on Tuesday when you return, we will be having our ELA fast testing. If you have any questions, like where you're testing or where you're going after the test, you can ask your teacher.
Also, there's no school on Monday because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Martin Luther was a civil activist who fought for the rights of people of color to be treated the same, not of color. He is remembered to this day here in the U.S. for changing everything.
On Monday, at your grade level assembly, admin talked to you and your grade. One of the many things that they talked about were ID badges. They must be worn around your neck at all times going forward.
Track season starts Monday, January 29th. You must have a sports physical on file in order to participate. If you have already participated in basketball and volleyball this year, your coaches strongly encourage you to participate in track. All students are encouraged to join, work hard, and enjoy a friendly competition against Port Charlotte Middle, Punta Gorda Middle, and LA Anger. If you have any questions, please see Coach Strauss.
Science tutoring is starting again on a new day and a new room. Miss Reed's science tutoring will now be on Tuesdays after school in G5. See your science teacher for sign up and to get the required permission slip.
Mariner ladies, are you into the outdoors? Then join Boy Scout Troop 95G. They are having multiple events like archery, ziplining, and more. For more, have your guardian call or email this info below.
Today's word of the day is throng, which means to press tightly together or cram.
Yesterday's trivia question was, what is the size of an Olympic swimming pool? The correct answer was 50 meters. Today's trivia question is, what is the world's largest ocean? Come back tomorrow to find out the correct answer.
Mariners, it's finally time. We're sending over to the other studio for Mr. Monteleone being pied in the face.
Good?
Did he?
All right.
You ready for this, Mr. Monteleone, you big loser?
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. It's going to feel like a mosquito landed on my nose, and I'm not even worried about that.
Okay, whatever.
You might even miss over the top of my head. You're so tall. So go ahead. Now, I'm not worried about it. All right, that was
Back over to you, Anchors.
that felt really nice.
I lost my walkie.
Mariners, here's a video about active assailant drills. A paper is going to be passed out around the class. Please put your full name and ID number.
Hello, I'm Corporal Tom Barker with the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office Juvenile Operations Unit. This alert training is a program that was developed to address growing active shooter threat and to help make our schools even safer. This is Alert Active Shooter Defense. ALERT stands for Assess, Lockdown, Evade, Resist, and Tell. ALERT expands upon the lockdown concept and empowers you with your options. One goal of Alert T is for you to be alert. We call this situational awareness. Situational awareness is the ability to identify, process, and comprehend what is happening around you. More of an attitude than a hard skill, situational awareness is something we all have some of the time and something none of us have all of the time. At school, strive to be alert, act on, and report any concern for your safety and the safety of others. If the first time you think about securing or evacuating your classroom is during an emergency, you may not respond as quickly as you'd like. It takes time to assess. You can prepare in advance by considering the following. Number 1, access control. Deny access into the classroom. 2, cover. Protection from a gunshot. 3, concealment. Hidden from the attacker's sight. And 4, evade options. Ways to escape the classroom. The overarching goal of assessing classrooms is to determine if a lockdown is an option and find the safest available space. Because hurting people means more to the attacker than their own life, it's not reasonable to expect a locked door to be enough. You need to understand that the safest available space is inside the classroom. The killer in Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School never entered a classroom, yet 6 students were killed inside classrooms. When determining the safest available space in your classroom, you must consider number 1, access control, number 2, cover, 3, concealment, and number 4, evade options. Let's explore when a lockdown is the best option. Indirect contact means the attacker is not in your immediate area. If you have direct contact, lockdown is not an option because this creates passive and available targets for the attacker. Being able to secure your location means that you have access control and you prevent entry into the room, and concealment so the attacker cannot see anyone inside the room. And number 3, cover to provide protection from the gunfire if the attacker shoots into the room. If exit leads to danger, means that if your only path or escape takes you towards the attacker, your best option is to secure your room to the best of your ability, even if this room is not ideal for lockdown. Keeping your classroom door locked during instruction allows you to focus more on teaching, less on security. These are required elements for your safest available space. If your classroom doesn't allow for this, evade is likely your best option. This picture shows what a lockdown in a classroom looks like. The door is locked and enforced with a barricade that blocks the door and the vision panel. Students are in the safest available space and on their feet, so it's easier for them to transition to evade if the lockdown fails. If a lockdown fails, determine your best option, either evade or resist. If you do not have a path of escape, resist is your best option. You should not wait for the attacker to enter the classroom. Evade is a powerful option and often the best option in an active shooter type attack. Under direct contact, there's an immediate danger to the students and they should be ordered to run. Distance and movement are more important than maintaining control of the students. At the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting, 9 students fled the unlocked classroom, 10. These were the only people to survive from that classroom. Resist is a last resort and doesn't mean that the students are taught to fight or counter an attacker. Teachers and staff are taught to resist if someone is trying to hurt students. During any emergency, it's very important to follow your teacher's instructions. Fighting back is a last resort. Through the resist mindset applies to lockdown evade. The final step in alert is to tell. While it's important to call 911, it is more important to first make certain you and your students are safe. Secure your room or evade far away from the school and then call 911 when you're safe. Active threat integrates evade and resist with enhanced lockdown to provide a measured approach to active threat best practices. To implement this action, use plain language, no code phrases. Don't wait for instructions. Evacuation is a structured movement out of the school to a safer location. Because it's structured and organized, this differs from the evade option in an alert. This action is implemented by fire alarms or plain language. However, you do not have to wait for an alarm or permission to evacuate an unsafe school. What you should do? The first response for law enforcement officers and the SRO is to stop the shooter. Follow any directions from law enforcement officers. Remember, the responding units do not know who the shooter is. Who the shooter is, inform the responding units. Provide a description of the shooter if you have any information. What you shouldn't do. Do not scream or yell. Do not ask responding units for help evacuating. Continue your evacuation route in the direction from which they are entering from. Do not make any sudden movement or run directly at the officers. Do not grab an officer or emergency medical personnel. Fortify FL is a suspicious activity reporting tool that allows you to instantly relay information to the appropriate law enforcement agencies and school officials. Fortify FL automatically routes your tip report to the appropriate law enforcement agencies and school officials. These tips can be done anonymously, or you can add your contact information if you wish to be contacted. So what actually happens after you make the tip? The tip report will go directly to your school's admin as well as your SRO. However, that's not all. The tip will also go to the Charlotte County Public School administrators as well as dispatch and other members of local law enforcement. This is done so that the tip is not missed by anyone and handled in a timely manner. At the same time, state-level officials will also have access to your tips to make sure proper steps are taken. So now let's talk about when it's proper to use Fortify FL. Tips should be made when you observe or hear about or observe suspicious activity that may endanger the children and staff at a school. What Fortify FL is not, it's not meant to be used to report issues that do not involve activity that may endanger children and staff. An example would be using Fortify FL to complain about a math test being too hard, or complaining that traffic in front of the school is backed up. Vague and anonymous tips often waste law enforcement's time and disrupt the school day, says Kurt Browning, president of the Florida Superintendent Association. Also remember, if you're passing on a threat via social media, you may now be the subject to investigation, as the threat has now come from your phone. Example, John Doe posts a Snapchat of a school threat. You copy it and post it to your Snapchat. This could lead to school discipline and or criminal charges. At the center of the Raptor Emergency Management Suite is Raptor Alert. Raptor Alert is a silent panic alert system that works on a smartphone device. Raptor Alert expedites and streamlines emergency response by allowing users to initiate emergency directly through 911 and provide critical information to first responders, law enforcement, and campus personnel. It directly integrates with 911. When time equals life, every second of clear communication can make all the difference. That's why Raptor Alert supports standard E911 services. It's rapid SOS ready and is fully compatible with all the standard public safety answering points and emergency calling infrastructure. Raptor automatically shares caller information with 911 dispatch, including caller name, callback number, precise location, down to which building they're in, school name and address, and the type of emergency.
Hello, I'm Corporal Billy Tuck. Since the release of our previous video, several improvements have been made to enhance the security of our Charlotte County schools. The newest improvement is installation and implementation of Intralogic Solutions one-button lockdown system. The system is much like a fire alarm for law enforcement. A simple push of the button will activate an active assailant alarm, which immediately makes notification to law enforcement. The school will also send out automated audio messages throughout the campus as blue strobes flash in high student density locations. The buttons are also in high student density locations and in all of the front offices. The safety of our students and staff is our top priority, and as you can see, we are prepared to respond immediately should a situation arise. In the event of a threat, we make our position very clear in the following video.
You might think it's harmless, funny even. You might think your friends will too. We won't.
And neither will the thousands of other people affected by it. Your fellow students, school faculty, first responders, and family members.
Whether it's meant to be a real threat or not, in Charlotte County, it will be treated as such.
And that means it will be investigated thoroughly.
Your electronic devices can be confiscated and your home can be searched.
We can go through all of your personal text messages, emails, social media posts, photos, wherever else we have to look to investigate the threat.
You and anyone else involved can be detained and interviewed throughout the investigation, and witnesses, including your friends, may also be interviewed.
Doesn't matter your age, your race, or gender. It doesn't matter what excuse you use. If you make a threat, even as a joke, you will be held accountable.
Once you post something to social media, it's out there forever, even if you delete it later.
That could mean expulsion from school, jail time, felony record for life, and a huge fine.
It means a reputation that will stick with you forever.
It means living under a microscope for the rest of your life and losing the benefit of the doubt in any future issues.
It could mean losing college or employment opportunities.
A picture,
A text,
A graphic,
a social media post,
A comment in a hallway,
A note,
a blog,
A statement made to be funny or out of anger.
Someone's always watching and always listening.
Just don't do it.
Today for lunch, we will be having baked meat and cheese ziti, and Tuesday we will be having boneless chicken bites. Mariners, don't forget to fuel up with both breakfast and lunch at Champs Cafe. Both breakfast and lunch are free to all students on campus.
Teachers, at this time, please check for dress code and ID badges and send any students to the office that have been dress coded or forgot their ID badges.
Students, at this time, please make sure your phones and any smart devices are powered off and placed away in your backpacks.
That's all for this edition of Mariner TV, your Mariner news station. I'm Max.
And I'm Lily.
And Mariners, remember,
Life's storm proves the strength of our anchor. You are the captain of your ship and the master of your fate. See you next time.